y'all, and welcome back. Welcome if you're new. I'm Tiffany and this is our small town life. Today we're going to do a garden tour as well as talk a little bit about pest control in an organic garden and what that looks like for us. So stay tuned and we'll get right into it and show you how much things have changed since our last garden tour. I have a little buddy here. You can help us do the garden tour today? Yeah? We're going to do this tour for you together. We're going to show you our herbs and how they're doing, our wildflowers, how they're doing, and we're also going to show you our, what I have been calling our small garden. We're going to show you what's going on there. I think I'm going to change up what I call this garden. I've been calling it our small garden, and then the one that we do with my mom and stepdad, I've been calling the big garden. But I know that this garden here, it's big for some people, right? When they look at it, they think that it's big, and it does grow a lot of food for us. It was never my intention for it to come across as, oh, this is a small garden. And I'm not saying that anyone has taken it that way. But the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what? It needs to have a fun name anyway. So we're going to call this our back porch garden because it's just off of our back porch. Then we have our melon patch. We have our squash patch. And then what I've been calling the big garden, we're going to call that our family garden. The stuff in this garden we share as well, but that's the one that we do with my mom and stepdad, so we'll just call that the family garden, okay? I don't know if we'll get over into that family garden today in this video. We might. We'll have to see. I think we're actually going to try to do some planting over there. Y'all, it has rained and rained and rained and rained some more. And we are behind on getting that spot planted. My stepdad already has the corn planted in that area and the squash is planted over there, but the rain has slowed us down on getting any further. It was to the point where it's like, we're just gonna have to plant in the rain. But I think we may be able to get out there today. It still needs to be tilled some more and for some work to be done in it, but we may just have to hoe where we plant and then come back and till and work some in it later because it's got to be planted. This garden here, it needs some work done in it too. The plants, our vegetables and our flowers and all those things, they love the rain, but so do the weeds. So I thought, am I ready to show this? Am I not? Yeah, there's some work that needs to be done, but it's real life. And that's what we do around here. So we're gonna show it to you just like it is. Let's walk up here, Huddy, and show them the herbs first. So our flowers, we've had several that have bloomed. We just put wildflowers in this area to help attract some pollinators and different things and just kind of natural beauty. There's several that have bloomed and several more that will be soon. Sunflowers are growing and cosmos. Yeah, that's a grasshopper. Some nasturtiums and different things. There's some grass in here too, and I've been debating on whether or not I'm going to pull it out or just leave it, but lots of wildflowers. These sweet potato vines and marigolds are doing well. Y'all, I used to plant these sweet potato vines as a ground cover and they would climb all the way up our stairs. If you put these in the ground, they will grow. I kind of want them just to spill out of these pots. But I don't know, I may end up putting one in the ground and letting it climb these stairs. The herbs are in this raised bed right here along the walkway. Pineapple, sage, and dill. Then some lemon balm and rosemary. I think there were a few of these. I don't think this chocolate mint was planted the last garden tour that I did. And then this is peppermint. And they're growing well. A good way to grow mint but still keep it contained is in a pot or a raised bed, and this is doing fantastic right here. Some tomato plants still growing to get ready to go over in the family garden. These potatoes have grown so much. These are the potatoes that are in a container. Yeah. These are the potatoes in a container. Maybe I can do a side-by-side to show y'all how much is. Maybe I'll do that with some of these things if I can in the garden. Show you a side-by-side of how much they've grown in a week. But these are our container potatoes. And then here we go, y'all. So much has changed just in the like week and a half since I showed this to you last. Audrey made me this sign that we've hung out here that says, "Welcome to our garden." The garlic is doing well, and the onions, y'all, they really need to be topped. Again, they're getting really heavy, so that's on my list in the next day or two. And I think what we'll do is we'll just start on this edge and we'll work our way across. What do we have planted here?
Potatoes.
Potatoes. Do you remember what kind we planted? So we have Yukon Gold. That's what's right here. And then we have in the middle some russet style potatoes. And on the end are our red potatoes. And they are all growing big, aren't they? Right behind our potatoes, what do we have? What are these plants? It's your and Easton's favorite. What are they called?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, that's right. I'm just joking. Y'all don't like tomatoes, do you? You like fried green tomatoes?
Yeah.
He was just looking at these tomatoes on here. And I got these as plant starts. Pretty much everything in this garden, other than the tomatoes and the onion, has been started from seed. I planted onion sets and then bought the tomato plants. I have some Rapunzel tomatoes that are a cherry type tomato. I have some Lemon Boys, which last year became my favorite. And then I have some Cherokee Purple and some Homestead out here in this garden. And then I also replaced one that had gotten damaged with, what does that tag right there say beside this one? Is it a Better Boy? Does that say Better Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are trying out this Florida weave with our tomatoes this year. We have T-posts about every 4 plants, and we're weaving string to support the tomatoes, and so far it seems to be doing well. The Lemon Boy have a little bit of a different structure to them, so having to work on that a little bit, but they all seem to be doing pretty good. Oh, I can smell them. Oh, it is. Look at it.
Big one and small.
A big one and a small one. And I've been doing my best at keeping some of the bottom branches pruned off because these are indeterminate plants, and keeping some of the suckers pinched off just to kind of keep them under control a little bit. But I need to do it again because they've grown so much with the rain.
What are they?
So come right here and I'll show you. These aren't quite as big and crazy. Well, you know what? They do still kind of look a little bit under control. What you'll get is, let me show you, Hud. So in the spot where they're growing out, in this little V right there, you'll get little spots that come off, and if you let them go, they'll turn into another branch. But then it can cause your tomato to get a little wild and unruly and not be able to focus so much on what it's doing because it's trying to grow so big. So we pinch them off. Yeah, just like that. All right, let's keep going. I have some cucamelons that are actually doing okay. It's time to get them something to start growing on. I have these right here in the front of the garden and some more towards the back. But this is exciting to me because I've struggled with cucamelon, but these seem to be doing okay. We'll kind of talk about these 2 rows at the same time because what's at the front of each of these rows?
Radishes.
Radishes, and you're ready to pick some, right? And they are ready to be picked. As a matter of fact, these Scarlet Globe are probably a little past being ready. We've been snacking on some, but some are starting to get a little bit stalky and fibrous just because they should have already been picked probably. And then those are watermelon. They take a little bit long. Watermelon radishes, they take a little bit longer to get ready. Let's go look at one and see. Wow. Show it to us.
Big.
It is big. I think these are probably ready too. I didn't think they would be, but I think they are. It'll be a good snacking one. Yeah, that one's pretty.
What are those?
It's more radishes. I just started them a little bit later. And then this is the end of the rows past the radishes. And this is our squash. So we have Georgia Candy Roaster squash, which is something new to us. And then some, I think it's straight neck yellow squash over here. And these have grown so much in the last couple of weeks. Last week. Yeah, that's going to be a blossom. Yeah. Some of those will be squash. There are a couple, like this one right here, I came back and replanted because that was a bare spot. So that's why that one's a little bit further behind. And you can see the ground needs a little work. That's what I was talking about. This is real life gardening. This is not squash. Do you remember what this is that we planted down here?
No.
This is cucumber. And these on this side are Ashley cucumber, and on the other side we have more cucamelon. And those are all ready to have something to climb on, and we're just trying to decide if we're going to do, I've used tomato cages in the past and let the cucumbers climb the tomato cages. Thought about doing a cattle panel. We've got to decide in the next couple of days and get something for these plants to start climbing. The snap peas, look what I noticed yesterday, Huddy.
Oh.
And then look right there.
That right here.
That's exciting.
What?
I'm gonna try one. Would you like to try one?
Yeah.
I like to have those with ranch, don't you? Yeah. A nice little garden treat. And while we're out here, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about as far as organic gardening while we're sitting here snacking on one of these. You can do that when you're organic gardening. What is organic gardening though? It's got to be whatever it means to you. Organic gardening may look different for different people. If you're going to be a certified organic farm, it takes quite the effort, and I'm talking all the way down to if you've got a fence post that's painted with chemical paint, or using T-posts and cattle panels in your garden and all those things. To me, this garden here is my place to work on bettering my organic gardening skills. Is this a true organic garden? It is to me. It is to me. I'm not putting any kind of chemical or non-organic fertilizer or anything like that on this garden. One of the areas that I'm struggling in though is ants. Here in the south, the ants like to take over. As a matter of fact, let me show you something.
No.
Oh, no is right. This is an example right here in our snap peas. And I'm going to try a few different things on these. The whole, taking part of an ant bed and putting it into another, and then part of that ant bed into the other to run them off. You're just running them to a different place though. Cornmeal, those kinds of things. But y'all, I've got to figure it out. And I say I've got to figure it out because the kids and I are pretty allergic to ants. And we actually end up having to put some stuff on the yard to get rid of ants because they were getting out of control. And Wyatt actually fell in an ant bed, and it was awful. If Justin gets bit by ants, they don't seem to bother him. It goes away. Within a minute, he's better. I'm not that way, and the kids are not that way, and it can become quite the problem. Wyatt was miserable for days, and his hands were all swollen, his ankles, where he got bit on his ankles, and so we had to do something about it. And that's one of those things where if I have to get some sort of bait to put on these ant beds in this garden, I'm just gonna have to do it, because I don't want to risk putting my hand in that, and I certainly don't want my kids to get in it. So that's one of those areas where we're still trying to figure it out, and that's one of the reasons why I have this space right here, is to figure those things out. Keep walking over and show them these last 2 rows. This row here is bush peas and then bush beans, and y'all, they are just not doing fantastic. They're doing okay, especially, let's walk down here to the front. These here, this one looks like it's had a little bit of a pest, but these seem to be doing okay. There were some spaces that they either didn't germinate or something ate them, and so I had to replant here. And I actually think I planted bush beans here with the peas. Oh, look. But they're just not doing fantastic. Like I mentioned, some of these here I had to go back and fill in, and that's why they're not quite big enough, or as big, I guess I should say. But they're just struggling. And we've been doing a lot of work on this ground, on this dirt, trying to get it to a healthy place, a nutrient dense place, a happy place for plants to grow. And part of that was putting these beans and peas on here to add nitrogen, because I knew this soil lacked that. So I was planning to keep rotating the beans and peas across this spot, maybe even do a cover crop of some beans or peas, because they are nitrogen fixers. But they're struggling, y'all. We'll have to see what comes of it. Maybe I'm just being a little critical of them, but hopefully, if nothing else, they help us enrich our soil. Maybe I'm just being a little too critical of them. Let's walk out here real quick. Audrey has some cucumbers growing out here by the melon patch. And check out her sunflower. It is doing really good. This is another area that needs some desperate attention after all of the rain. The melons are doing really well. The cantaloupes, the watermelons. We do have some wildflowers planted on the fence line, but we've got to get through here and work on getting some of this grass and things that have started to come up after all of the rain. We've got to get that taken care of. It is just still so wet. Eventually these will take over and the vines will cover this area. We won't have to worry about it so much, but for now we need to get in here and do a little work. The plants are growing really well though. All right, Hud, I think I'm going to pause this video for now. Maybe we'll show a few clips of us planting over in the family garden. I still want to call it the big garden. I may end up calling it that. We'll add a few clips of us doing some planting over there. Again, just gonna have to work with what we can with the ground being as wet as it is, and then just, you know, keep taking care of it and tending to it as things start to dry out a little bit. But we'll show you the strawberry patch that we did over there when we walk over to do that planting, and we'll include some of that. Maybe the corn, maybe it'll be dry enough there where I can show you how that's doing. But we'll go ahead and pause for now, and then we'll pick you back up after a while. we're out here about to plant, but I thought I would show you these strawberry plants. They are looking so good. Even some of the ones down here that I wasn't quite sure if they would make it, they're doing really good too. That says we planted them in a pallet with some black cow topsoil and black cow compost manure. I'm just gonna set you up and let you watch us plant for a little while, and I'll fill you in on what all we plant. What you see us working on here are our cattle panel trellises. We're using 4 T-posts and 2 cattle panels to make an archway, and we planted cucumbers on these. We planted a few different kinds of cucumbers, some Boston pickling cucumbers. We did plant Space Master, and they do not get quite as big or take up quite as much space, so we'll probably add some pole beans in with those to grow over the trellis. Trellis is still good for Space Master. They're just not going to get quite as big and grow quite as large, so we'll probably add some pole beans in with those. Then you're also going to get to see us work on some other things. We did a row of okra, cowhorn okra. Then we did a row that's a mix of different kinds of radishes. We did a row of rutabagas. And we've got to go back. Oh, we also did a half row of purple hull peas and a half row of bush lima beans. We've still got to plant our tomatoes and our peppers. The tomatoes that I started from seed will be ready in probably another week. And then I think I'll go to a local feed and seed store and get a few more to add in with that, as well as get some pepper plants to go ahead and put in the ground. My pepper plants that I started from seed won't be ready for a little while. Once they are ready, we'll add those into the garden as well. But I'll probably go to that local feed and seed store and get a few more just to go ahead and get some planted and get some going. That's going to be all for this video. Don't forget to subscribe and stick around to see what all of our garden spaces become. We would sure love to have you. We love you, we appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.